Yes, good morning. The title of the session is Addressing Sustainable Development Goals Through Engineering Education. And I'm a professor in BMS College of Engineering, Bangalore. And a quick overview on the engineering education in India. India becoming a recognized signatory to the Washington Accord, there was a necessity to implement outcome based education and ensure that the outcomes defined by the Washington Accord are getting addressed through the program outcomes defined by NBA so that our students who are graduating from accredited programs accredited by the National Board of Accreditation will have an ability to compete on global platform, and they'll be able they'll have the attributes expected of global engineers. And the outcomes that the NBA has defined for engineering programs are directly aligned with the graduate attributes defined by the Washington Accord. And we have 11 outcomes that shall be addressed uh, through the engineering program. And here there is an enhanced depth. I mean, these outcomes have been revised recently, and the revision has ensured that there is a depth. There is a depth, and there is increased focus on defining and addressing complex engineering problems, and also a need to address the sustainable development goals. And of course the outcomes are also having the requirement to address the knowledge profiles defined by the Washington Accord. Now when we look at the outcomes defined by the NBA, which is aligned with the Washington Accord, it's so interesting. It's extremely interesting to note that the Bloom's taxonomy, that one often tries to ensure that we are able to address the higher levels defined by the Bloom's taxonomy. Actually, without using the word Bloom's taxonomy, the outcomes defined they include Bloom's taxonomy, and actually we are looking at a larger set, a set larger than the skills, the competency expected through the Bloom's taxonomy. And in case we want to go beyond the skills, beyond the outcomes defined by NBA, we have the National Education Policy 2020 in India, and this addresses a little additional skills much beyond, and we're looking at a holistic development in a multidisciplinary environment. I mean, it's difficult to summarize the whole policy in in few words, but the broad essence is that we're looking at an overall development of our students. And all these skills definitely get addressed through the curriculum, and because entire student learning is only through the curriculum, courses in the curriculum. So the curriculum becomes a major component in our design process. So certain parameters that we look in while designing the curriculum are, of course, the program specific criteria by ABET, the attributes of a global engineer, the 21st century skills, the outcomes defined by NEP, and the suggestions by the stakeholders. And when we look at the skills, the 21st century skills, and then we see that there is emphasis on decision making, the art of negotiation, coordinating with others, the emotional component, and of course people management. These are certain skills that are, and these skills are also included through our national education policy. And of course every program would definitely look into the program specific criteria that is recommended by the ABET, so that the core domain knowledge is there in all the students who are graduating from the programs here. The Our technical body, the All India Council for Technical Education, has considered various factors and given broad guidelines on having several curricular components in our curriculum. These are just a broad guideline, and programs can have their specific distribution of the credits among the various components. Of course, today there is enhanced emphasis on computing skills as well as ability enhancement courses. I won't call the GATE as an exit exam, but most of the engineering disciplines In case a student desires to go for higher education, a certain employment opportunities come through student qualifying uh, the GATE exam, and usually our curriculum will include this exam considers the fundamental concept. It's not essential fundamental concepts of the core domain, and it becomes a good teaching practice for a we faculty to ensure that that GATE syllabus is included in our curriculum, and we also try to include the assessments of that type so the students are able to take this exam in case they desire and qualify. And of course, when we look at this, the holistic education and a multidisciplinary component, it becomes one step very easy because our curriculum definitely have open electives, and elective courses have students from various disciplines. So all that we look at is when we can introduce a project in the open electives. I think then we are looking at the developing the multidisciplinary component in our students, and we also can go beyond offering electives in engineering, maybe include engineering, I mean electives from the law course or the MBA course or from liberal arts programs. And looking at this overall personality development, we had additional outcomes in addition to the outcomes defined by NBA. We had three program specific outcomes. It was the electronic systems, telecommunication, and simulation. But looking at the 21st century and going little beyond, we introduced this additional outcome on holistic where we are trying to emphasize on the emotional component and the art of negotiation through certain courses. And in order to address the outcomes defined by NBA, it is just our thought process that if every semester through the courses of the curriculum, if we can address every outcome, then I think the cumulative contribution from every semester is going to result in a definite addressing the outcomes defined by the National Board of Accreditation. And of course, when we implement OBE, we are going to see a significant improvement in the student performance, and that would lead to a news in the region, and then it is going to further enhance the quality of students joining the program. And this was the curriculum and its component. But in addition, we have certain additional requirements which is beyond the credit structure. Like whatever was discussed till now was through the formal curriculum and credits in the curriculum. And here we are looking at additional requirements. There are two components here: the induction program and the activity points. These are not part of the credit structure, but it's essential that they are introduced through the learning process. The induction program is a 3-week induction program at the beginning. When the student joins a program in any institution, it's a 3-week induction program. And here, normally, we have students coming from different backgrounds, different uh, cultural regions, and so to keeping the diversity in the students joining the program, the induction program takes the whole group through a process wherein we learn to respect and accept the cultures. We also introduce the values in the region, and we also design certain bridge courses so that we provide any additional support that is required to bring them on par. Maybe some students would require an additional support in mathematics, some in language, maybe it could be English or the regional language, it could be computing skills. So this is something that we try to do at the beginning. Of course, we also have an interaction with the alumni and other activities. And this induction program, the whole thought is, if carefully designed and delivered, all students at the end would be on par to take the complete engineering program, and the entire journey of the 4-year engineering journey would be successful for every student. And another component which is not part of the credit structure is the activity points. The students need to earn 100 activity points through the program, and usually these are earned during semester breaks. We have around he cannot earn all the points through one it one particular activity gets him a maximum of 20 activity points, and this comes through us being associated for 80 to 90 hours. And this is essential. Unless the student earns 100 activity points, he's not awarded the engineering degree. So it's a beautiful framework. Like, we have core competencies, skills through the courses of the curriculum, and additional learning that comes in through these activity points. And if we look at it, the sustainable development goals that we have, the 17 goals. Of course, I did not put it here, but just for completeness, I have put all of them. When we look at these 17 sustainable goals, and if we look at the activity points that are suggested by the students need to earn through associating and getting around 80 to 90 hours of association for every 20 points, he gets 100 activity points. If you see, each of these activity heads are divided under 15 heads, and if we look at each of them, if we look at each of these activities, they directly align to one or more of the SDG. So this is not part of the credit structure, but a requirement that every student shall fulfill for the award of the engineering degree. So we have the create a local job, improve education. The activity 4 is sustainable water management. So we have other additional activities here. And activity 9, if we see, is solution for energy conservation. And then the 15 activities we have, the activity 14 is the efficient garbage disposal. So the concept here is the regulatory body, the guiding policies ensure that every student definitely has an awareness and is able to map his activity towards the sustainable development goals. So at the national level, if you see, the guidelines from our the All India Council for Technical Education has ensured this component. And also, in addition, the accreditation criteria, we have the criteria at the institutional level, the NAC, and the NBA has does a program level accreditation. Both these accreditation bodies have emphasis on sustainable development goals. So, for example, if you're looking at an institution level, institutions can plan on bringing in these initiatives, the green energy, preserving water, quality education, and these activities through the processes in the institution. We can also look at addressing the SDGs at every program. At every program, by having complex engineering problems, we can have exclusive projects, we can have course projects, we can have seminar, and in addition, the curriculum also includes courses like the Indian knowledge systems and the universal human values. Again, here there is reference and the emphasis on the SDGs. And very small example, but in my course on analog signal processing, in the third semester, ask the students to look at an application of signal processing and map it to SDG, and also give their proposed plan of how they plan to earn the activity points. And in the third semester, also included the component of peer evaluation, because they upload a video, and every team would evaluate the other team. There's a rubrics and there's a criteria. They have to grade, identify a good, positive, and a negative component suggestion, and then give a reason for grading. And this in the fourth semester, of course, my classroom remains as third sem, but it is for the same group of students. So it remains in this manner. Here in this course on DSP, the students pick up an application of DSP. It could be healthcare, agriculture, entertainment, or anything, and they come out with an application, and then they again map it to the SDG. And a purely a personal thought that comes to my mind, because there is everywhere there is an emphasis in the outcomes, or in the knowledge elements. There is definitely an emphasis on the contribution to society and the social work. And often we have students going from a city to a rural region, and spend some time there and try to contribute. uh, on purely personal thought, uh, what I feel is the smallest entity in the society becomes our home, and can we also look at our students contributing and ensuring that we have happy, prospering homes and leading to sustainable communities. I mean, the how do we bring it into the teaching learning process? Just a thought I put it here. And of course, finally, the success of the education process that we offer to the students shall reflect through our students being accepted by the industry. They're able to succeed in competitive examinations. They are lifelong learners, and definitely they're going to be socially responsible citizens. And of course, as mentioned, they shall definitely be part of the success story at home. And I once again acknowledge the entire team of the Learning Ideas Conference, because the process in which they take us through, and the entire support system so well organized, and it's a pleasure to present our ideas on this platform. In during 2023, I had the opportunity to share my view on experiential learning, and these are the of that presentation certain high timelines. And last year, I had the opportunity to share the experience on the improvement in pedagogy after doing an international certification program, and certain concepts addressed in that presentation. The timelines are here. And of course, I acknowledge the editorial team for giving the an opportunity to contribute my thoughts in engineering education as one of the authors of chapter 3, and one of the authors of chapter 6, the IIT Gandhinagar, for the course that they have given, and acknowledge National Board of Accreditation for taking us through the initial journey of trying to understand and implement and the processes that are required for a successful implementation of outcomes-based education. The association with the Indo-Universal Collaboration for Engineering Education has given us the confidence and the ability to learn and interact with academic experts. And one specific advantage, a benefit that I had during because of the association with IUCE is the migration to the online platform during the pandemic, because the IUCE had already taken us through online, through webinars and online methods of participating and delivering. So the benefit has been tremendous. And of course, have the learnings included in a book on outcome based education. And my college, we call it BMS College of Engineering, the leadership and management, the environment they provide for each of us to nurture and grow is amazing. And our college is established in 1946, and we by the visionaries, late Sri B.M. Srinivasaya and late B.S. Narayan. And it's a must sort of after college, both by students because they want to learn in our institution, and by faculty who want to pursue a career in teaching. It's a dream institution, because the management policies support are so good. To summarize the management policy, our retention is as high as 95%. So I'm fortunate to be part of this institution. And of course, our college uh, has just strives to achieve the vision, and it is to contribute technical manpower for the country. And I serve in the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering, department established in 1986. I'm a professor in this department. And of course, whatever I have presented, though I acknowledge BMS, I acknowledge National Board of Accreditation and the IUCE, what I present is purely a personal understanding. And I'm not representing the college or the NBA, or the IUCA. Because once again, I just put Kanmani and OBE, and then this is the content, and it's nice to see this summary being generated by AI. Thank you.